Today I'll be talking about how can you restrict access of your devices using the device ID on IoT security. So we might have IoT devices which have like elevated risk score and we want to either restrict the device traffic or we want to quarantine that specific device. So what you can do is on your panorama or the firewall, you can create a policy using the restricted device category, and you can give very limited access to some applications or destinations. In the workflow, we have a very simplified process where we can just push these devices to be in a restricted category and we would restrict their access. For example, here we have created rules where restricted devices to untrust zone are allowed to access SSL, but anything else is not allowed. So let's see how these policies can be configured. On your panorama or the firewall UI, first of all, we need to go to Objects, Devices, and create a restricted device object. So you can create a new object and select this category Restricted. Once you have this category, you can create a new rule. So we can have a restricted rule where, say, from our source zone, we can have an object that falls under the restricted device category. To some destinations, you can also give application. For example, I just want them to allow to be using SSL and nothing else should be allowed. So we can have a rule for this. To the policy sets and to the settings, you have this option, restrict device traffic via firewall. If we enable this setting, if we select a device which should have restricted network access, IoT security would push a IP to device mapping that this device is restricted, and the policies that you created on your firewall or panorama would be applicable for it. One thing to notice, only devices with a high confidence score, that is above 90, can be restricted. So let's go to one of the device. We can check if you have any existing restricted device traffic. So you can just do a restricted traffic, yes. We have these devices which are currently restricted. You will see that it has a restricted traffic tag. When was the restriction started? And what was the point of restriction because of which we restricted the device? So there it was some alert or some vulnerability for which we can actually restrict the traffic of this device. So if you see there was a manufacturer default username password and you have different actions. You also have the option to de-restrict the traffic if you want to. So let's see how you can restrict the traffic of a specific device. Now here we have this device. We see the risk score is high. So what you can do is if you want, you can click on restrict traffic and it would place this device in the restricted category. What we can also do is if there are any vulnerabilities identified and you want to restrict the traffic on the basis of it, that can be done as well. For example, let's go inside one specific CVE and you see that this specific device is impacted. So you have the option of restricting the traffic of a device. We can also set up some alerts that if a critical vulnerability is identified or if the risk score of a device goes higher than say 90, I want to automatically place the device in the restricted category. With this, we can control what kind of traffic is allowed for a critical risky device in your environment. Hope this was helpful. Thank you.